Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to look at high cholesterol from a totally different angle, through a homeopathic lens.
All right, let's jump right in. For so many of us, especially if you live in a city, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, it's a constant worry, right? But what if? What if the answer isn't just buried in those lab numbers? What if we're missing the bigger picture?
I mean, it makes sense. A lot of people are looking for something more holistic, something that treats them, not just a number on a page. So that's what we're going to unpack in this explainer, a framework for choosing specific remedies based on, well, the whole person, their emotional state, their physical symptoms, the whole shebang.
All right, first up, the cholesterol conundrum. We're going to start by looking beyond that lab report.
Next, we've got anxiety versus irritability. This is a tale of two heart remedies.
Okay, so first on our list is a remedy called Sambal. Now this one is for that really anxious, almost hysterical type of person. Picture this. Their cholesterol might just be a little bit high, borderline, but they're completely consumed by it. They're losing sleep, convinced they're about to have a heart attack. It's so bad that their heart starts pounding just from thinking about their health. And here's the crucial part. It's not just a feeling in their head. This anxiety comes with a very real, very specific physical sensation, a clogged feeling in the left side of their chest, and this weird numbness that goes right down their left arm. It's that 1-2 punch of the emotional and the physical that really points the finger at Sambal. Now, before we jump to the next remedy, let's just quickly get on the same page about atherosclerosis. It's basically when plaque, this crusty, chalky stuff, builds up in your arteries, making them hard and narrow. And this is important because our next remedy, Crataegus, is thought to have a direct, almost like a solvent action on these deposits. And look at this comparison. The difference is just night and day, isn't it? The Sambal patient is all about anxiety and worry, but the Crataegus patient, they're irritable, they're cross, and they almost always have high blood pressure. And get this, they can have this feeling of air hunger, like they just can't get enough fresh air. That's a huge clue that separates the two. Okay, on to our next section, the constitutional approach. Here, we're zooming in on remedies for really specific types of patients. So let's talk about a remedy called Baraita muriatica. This one is really interesting because it's aimed specifically at elderly folks dealing with atherosclerosis. The picture here is a very specific cluster of symptoms. Things like enlarged glands, maybe their memory and comprehension aren't what they used to be, and you might even find an aneurysm on a scan. But here's the real kicker. The one thing that makes this remedy stand out, really stand out, is this super unique blood pressure pattern. The top number, the systolic, is high, but the bottom number, the diastolic, is actually low. So you might see something like 180/60. A reading like that in an older patient who has all those other signs we just talked about, that's a huge flashing neon sign pointing right to Baraita muriatica. And it's just a perfect example of what we're talking about, looking way beyond that one cholesterol number. And this really drives home how important blood pressure is as a guidepost, right? We already met Crataegus, which is for high blood pressure. But then you have a remedy like Terminalia arjuna on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. It's used when you see atherosclerosis combined with low blood pressure, often because the heart has been weakened by some other complicated long-term illness. All right, moving on to section 4, lifestyle and liver. This is where digestion is the key that unlocks the diagnosis. Okay, so we're going to shift gears now. We've been talking a lot about the heart, but let's move over to the liver. And this brings us to a really fascinating remedy called guarria. This one's for people whose high cholesterol seems to be coming from liver problems. You can kind of think of it like a hybrid remedy. It's got features from two other big liver remedies, Lycopodium and Chelidonium. And you can see its unique family tree right here. So guarria shares some things with its parent remedies, like problems on the right side of the body or having liver spots. But, and this is the important part, it's the differences that really matter for diagnosis. The person who needs guarria feels worse after eating sweets, and just worse from eating in general. These super specific food reactions are the clues that tell you you're on the right track. And for our final remedy, we're looking at a problem that feels very, very modern. It's for a condition that's basically a reaction to what we'd call high living. We're talking about allium ursinum. And it's for those cases where high cholesterol seems to be a direct result of that high stress, maybe a little too indulgent lifestyle. So the person we're talking about here isn't a glutton but a gourmand. They appreciate good food, especially rich, meaty dishes. They're probably pretty robust, a strong constitution, but their system is just getting hammered by eating at weird times and having a diet that's heavy on red meat. And what happens? Atherosclerosis. But interestingly, they often don't have the high blood pressure we saw with other remedies. Their personality type is often impatient. Maybe they get those tension headaches that start in the stomach. Sounds a lot like a Nux vomica type, right?
Okay, let's wrap this up with our guiding principle. Basically, how to choose the right tool for the job.
So the approach laid out here is pretty clear and methodical. Step 1, you have to look at the whole person, not just the cholesterol, but their emotions, their habits, their unique symptoms. Step 2, you pick the remedy that fits that specific individual picture. Then you give it some time, say 4 to 6 weeks, and retest. And if things are moving in the right direction, then you can start to work on gradually and carefully reducing the conventional medication.
So, at the end of the day, what this all comes down to is a philosophy of treatment. It's not about finding one magic bullet. It's about being a master of your toolkit, knowing all the different remedies at your disposal, and, more importantly, knowing exactly when and how to use them. The real skill isn't just treating a number. It's about understanding the person behind the number. So the question we're left with isn't just how high is the cholesterol, but who is the person with the high cholesterol?